I don't know what happened there, excuse me. But like I was saying, we left off when a man learns to lead with humility. He becomes a partner who listens, supports, and protects. And when a woman stands in her worth and identity, she becomes a wellspring of encouragement and discernment. Emotional depth and when they're both together, it just creates a stronger relationship. It creates deeper intimacy. It creates a healthier dynamic between both men and women. And Proverbs 31:25 is, she is clothed with strength and dignity. Now, a woman of God does not shrink. She shines. You know, her strength isn't loud. You know what I mean? It's just steady, and her influence isn't forceful. It's powerful. You know, her presence just the mere presence of a woman of God, it just brings like this stability, and you see that wisdom, which just clearly just brings clarity. Her love brings healing, and this is where when in a situation where women are valued and empowered and respected, it flourishes. It helps her flourish on every level. You know, and Philippians 2:3, do nothing out of selfishness, ambition, or vain. Selfishness, ambition, or vain, or conceit. You know, a man that reflects Jesus, he doesn't dominate. You know, he elevates. He elevates a woman. He elevates the community. He elevates households. You know, and a woman walking in God's image doesn't compete. It's a cooperation. It's together. Like, that's what I think we're forgetting. It's always men, women. It's a corporation. Like, a good business runs with cooperation. And not comparing, well, it could be compared to a business or a company. You know, together we form a partnership it's not built on ego, you know, but it's built on unity. It's you know, we communicate together. We communicate with humility and, you know, admitting when we're wrong, and kind of choose love and light, even when conversations get tough, you know, because they're going to get tough. But if we are focusing on love and light and showing humility, even when the conversations are hard, they're easy. And these qualities, they strengthen relationships, making both men and women feel seen, safe, and heard, you know? It's like, think about it. I mean, do in relationships, whether it's at work, whether it's in the church, whether it's on the field, no matter where it is, you got to think, are you looking for fear, or are we looking for transformation? Are we looking for obedience or genuine growth? And when our women lead with strength, relationships no longer fight for dominance. They rise. When a man leads with humility, our relationships no longer fight for dominance. Again, they rise in unity. You know? And the greatest among you will be your servants. That's Matthew chapter 23, verse 11. You know? And the reason I chose that verse is because sometimes some people argue that humility makes us appear weak in both men and women. You know, some claim that women lose power by serving, and some claim men lose authority by softening. But research and scripture stand united on this. Servant leadership produces the strongest families, the healthiest marriages and relationships, and the most resilient communities. Compassionate leadership outperforms authoritarian leadership in loyalty, longevity, longevity, and emotional well-being. You know, and let me see, Ephesians 5:25. Husbands, love your wives just as Christ loves the church. When we learn to lead with humility, we become, again, partners who listen, you know, and we I don't know, I gotta go back to, again, supporting and protecting. This creates stronger marriages, stronger relationships, and it's just, it filters from in the home out into communities, because we're not just saying or preaching or talking that we're doing it. We're doing it in the home, and when you do it, fake it till you make it, I guess. I don't know if that's appropriate to say, but I think it just filters out into the communities, out into our schools, into our children. And if we look at what's going on in the world and in the news right now, I think that's where we're losing it. We're dividing, saying this is just, we as men, my brothers, you know, we have to learn humility and recognize that. And our women have to recognize their strength and both respect that. You know, if that makes sense. I mean, studies show, again, scripture, this is where scripture's the original, but this is where studies, when you're science or religion, however you want to look at it, when there's a study that reflects upon something like scripture that's been in place for thousands of years, the Harvard Public Health Study shows that relationships rooted in empathy, humility, and Christ experience a higher trust level and lower conflict by over 40%. Now, Scripture's been saying that encourage shared service. I don't know why this keeps shutting off on me, forgive me. It's bad enough I'm trying to keep track of my notes, and I gotta keep track of that too. But again, encourage shared service in the home and in public. Like, you know, like some of us may go out and we talk and we're in the communities and we're giving this persona, men and women, of, you know, love, equality, encouragement, work together. But in our homes, we're not doing it. You know, it's like we put on this superhero or a God cloth when we leave, but then when we come back, we're not doing the same thing. And I can look back in my life where I've done that a million times, you know? And it doesn't have to be so drastic. It just can be simple things, you know? 4, normalize mutual accountability. Apologies and forgiveness. That needs to be more normalized in this society than I can imagine. You know, no one likes to hold accountability, but we all like to point the finger. You know, everyone wants forgiveness, but no one wants to apologize. We have to start normalizing those behaviors. And 5, celebrate strength in women, celebrate the strength and wisdom, and celebrate the gentleness in our brothers and our brothers. And it's an equal part of God's design. I mean, there's no separation. It was, you know, Adam, and then he created Eve because there was an imbalance there. He needed something to balance life out, support as one. And whoever lives in God, God lives in them. 1 John chapter 4, verse 16. Being created in God's image is not a title. It's an assignment. It's not something, hey, I'm created. It's an assignment. If you're claiming to be created in God's image, as he said, you realize that that's an assignment in your life for both men and women, for both of men and women to live boldly, to lead gently, and to serve humbly, to walk like Jesus, to walk like God. Again, live boldly, lead gently, and serve humbly. And to build relationships, families, marriages, and communities that reflect the heart and wisdom and the unity of God. So, love warriors, lead with love, walk in God's image, and build solid relationships in our homes, in our families, and in our communities. And I think if we start doing that sort of thing collectively, I promise you, we will see a change. And I don't see how that can be a bad thing. I don't really see anything negative coming off of that train of thought. And again, I hope you could grasp and piece together everything that I've shared with you today. But I think in a nutshell, is if things are going to move, things are going to change, or if we want to shift this paradigm that we're now living in, instead of complaining, let's think about that. Relationships, families, households, and communities. We go down the line living humbly. We go down the line leading gently. And we go down the line walking in God's image. We'll be all right. I think we'll be all right. So, as usual, my love warriors, keep it right, keep it tight. Peace.